Super Bowl props of the day. We got your sneaky play of the day, stat of the day, NBA and NHL props. And it's Super Bowl week, so we're doing the Super Bowl edition of the Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame nominees. We're going to talk about several of them. Shout out to everyone that suggested some of their Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame nominees. We're going to start doing you guys next week. We wanted to do a special Super Bowl week. We got some crazy ones to talk about. So welcome everyone, Andy and Steve from WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. Let's just start off real quick with some positive vibes from the audience. Thanks for the darts pick. Yeah, darts plays go off tomorrow. Corbin was gracious enough to share some free play darts picks. If you'd have told me a couple years ago we were sharing free darts plays, I would have told you we were kidding. Vegas D's Anders Lee finally got a point. I know. I almost played Anders Lee to not have a point, and then he comes out of the break and gets one. So thanks, boys. Yeah, Judge Jr. Let's see. Darts, BetLine, they offer. So betonline.ag, we're going to talk about them later. Spread, money line, total, and see bet for 180s. Yeah, so Bovada is an offshore that offers these, and all the domestics offer them. So you should be able to find all the darts plays across there. So it is what it is. Likes Purdy over his rushing yards. And then Patrick Mobile Holmes, great name. I talked about LeBron going over 1.5 3-pointers, and then LeBron shoots 0 for 5. I just remind me when I talked about LeBron, the point was just keep playing it at 1.5. He's not going to hit every single time, but just keep playing it. We're hoping to go like 5-2, 4-1, scrape some units on that particular play. I'll talk about another one. Steve, I mentioned Colin Sexton to go over 1.5 3-pointers. He only had one last night. They keep it at 1.5. I'll keep playing it. The guy's shooting, what is it? I think that's 69 3-point attempts in the last 17 games. It's, green light for him to shoot. So, there's just certain plays where you just kind of keep playing them over and over and over again. So, let's get to the stat of the day because it is Super Bowl related here, Steve. So, walk us through this one.
So, fading the team with the better regular season record has been a moneymaker in the Super Bowl. As 16 of the last 19 games, the team with the worst record has won the game. The Chiefs went 11-6 this year, and the Niners 12-5. Pretty similar records, but pretty interesting that in 16 of the last 19 games, the team with the worst records actually came out on top.
Do you think that means anything, or is that just a weird stat that is just like, well, it's kind of a coin flip? What do you think? Does that mean anything to us?
I mean, this year, I don't know if this year's a little different than some years because we don't really have a heavy favorite. It's like a 2-point favorite, pretty close to almost a pick 'em in this one. Some of these other years where there's been a heavy favorite, I guess I guess it had some meaning in those games, but this year it's kind of like a dead heat. Especially they only finished one game separate from each other anyway, so it's really not much of a. It's really this year's kind of a coin flip in a sense for that stat at least.
Yeah, I don't know. Wonder if I don't know, revenge, like not revenge, but like a little extra motivating factor, like they're counting us out. I don't know. That's an interesting stat of the day. Something, I mean, 16 of 19 is not nothing. Like it feels like that's too much of an anomaly.
Yeah.
So you wonder what's going on there. Maybe the team with the worst record has been tested a little bit more. Faced adversity. I don't know.
Had to play in the wild card round.
Yes.
Sometimes as well. Had a little more postseason experience under most postseason games under their belt, I should say.
That's a really interesting one. That if you would have said 7 out of 10, I'm like, all right, but 16 out of 19, very very high percentage. So that's a very interesting way to look at the Super Bowl. So. Let's get to the Super Bowl props of the day. Well, I mean, we both have real props that you can bet on. Steve is going to take a player in the game. I am going to take a prop on a certain someone who's going to be in a certain box watching the game who may or may not be coming from Japan. But let's talk about yours, Steve. You like Brock Purdy under 1.5 touchdown passes. Walk us through this one.
Yeah, so we know this Chiefs pass defense is legit. They allowed the fourth fewest passing touchdowns during the regular season with only 1.12 per game, and they've held all three of their opponents, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Tua, all to one each. Another interesting thing here is that Purdy's a sophomore quarterback. We've seen 7 sophomore quarterbacks play in the Super Bowl, and only 2 of them have eclipsed this passing touchdown total of 1.5. Only 2 quarterbacks have gotten to 2 as sophomores, and those were Kurt Warner and Russell Wilson. So I'm gonna go under here. We get it at plus 100, so we get even money on the under here. I just think that the Niners are going to be looking to run the ball here. That's more often than not. I don't think that Purdy's going to get too into the end zone against this Chiefs pass defense. If Tua, Allen, and Lamar Jackson couldn't get the job done, I'm going to take the under on Purdy here as well.
Like it. Brock Purdy under 1.5 touchdown passes certainly worth a look. The more and more I look at this game, and this could be good or bad. God, there's like this huge break, in between games, and then you get in your own head and you start running through a million different scenarios. But I kind of feel like this is like the weaknesses of the Chiefs defense and the 49ers defense, if you want to call them weaknesses, is their rush defense. I could see both running backs having good, especially if the game's close. Couldn't you see this be just a Pacheco McCaffrey type of game?
100%, and that's one thing I forgot to mention there as well. Is I think that in the red area, I think that the 49ers have a lot of different rushing options between obviously McCaffrey, potential with Debo, and even potentially Purdy running it in himself. I feel like we're going to see a lot of running in this game. I expect both teams to try to control the game and the time possession with the ground game.
All right. Real quick, if you guys could hit the thumbs up, please. It really helps the algorithm out a lot. And tell us your best bet. Tell us what you're liking for the Super Bowl. Even if you like something in the waste management, Phoenix Open, or UFC, tell us what you're liking this weekend. It is a loaded weekend for events. So tell us what you like. And then, guys, we have an NHL pack, and of course our Super Bowl pack is up. It's so bummer, man. I dropped my NHL play last night. I had Morgan Frost over 1.5 shots on goal. He had 1. Of course, he had a missed shot that just whizzed by the goal. So close on that one. But bounce back is a beautiful thing. So looking forward to get back on track. Steve, what do you have up over at sportsmemo.com?
I have a 5% Super Bowl play locked and loaded, 38-27 on my NFL best bets during the last 2 seasons. I haven't had a 5% play in I think since the championship game, and I cashed that one as well. So I have that one up, and I'll also be in action tonight in the NBA as well.
Nice. Don't forget, guys, take a video on your phone and send it to me, please. I got a few of them already, putting them together. You guys that sent them to me have done a great job. Just video on your phone, email to me. You can put it on Google Drive and send it to me. If you have any questions on how to do it, leave me a comment or just send me an email, bumprunsports@gmail.com. I'm going to have video of a bunch of people giving me their best Super Bowl prop. So we want to get everybody involved. It's been a great NFL season. So just send me a video on your phone. Tell me what's your favorite prop, just 20 seconds or less. And everyone that's sent in a video so far has done a fantastic job. I love it. So let's keep that up. Appreciate you guys as always. All right, let's get to my Super Bowl prop, Steve. Of course, I'm going with a Taylor Swift. Listen, don't laugh at these. There's money to be made here. How long will Taylor Swift be shown live? That's the key. Live. Replays do not count. So if they show a slow-mo replay of her celebrate, how long will Taylor Swift be shown? Over under 28.5 seconds. It's juiced to the under. 100% under on minus 130. This is the narrative is that, oh my God, they can't stop talking about Taylor Swift. The fact is she's on live an average of 25 seconds a game, and they're showing fewer shots of her. This is courtesy of a New York Times article that actually broke this down. They showed her only 4 times during the Chiefs-Ravens game, and part of it was to promote the Grammys. The Grammys are over, so there's no reason to promote that anymore. I would also say she's getting annoyed by it, openly getting annoyed by being on camera. So don't think that her people haven't reached out and been like, "Could you freaking chill on putting me on camera there, and like literally she's there watching her boyfriend. So I think the narrative, Steve, is that she's on camera all the time. And also, don't forget about how much money some of these sponsors put into the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They have a lot more to get to than Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has been, obviously biggest pop star in the world, but she's kind of been there as, I don't want to say a crutch, but like something if there's a little downtime or after a touchdown, something exciting. If Travis Kelce doesn't score, I don't think they're going to show her that much. So I think there's a lot of things going on here with Under. The first off, the narrative is that they show her a ton. They don't. There's no Grammys to promote. And then she's kind of getting annoyed with being on camera as much. So much value in the Under. If you have a bet online, .ag account. Well, first off, if you don't, go get it. They're like one of the best sports books I like using. Take the Under 28.5. That's your breakdown of Taylor Swift. So agree or disagree on that one, Steve?
I agree with you because I was going to bring up one of the points that you brought up as well, is that the Super Bowl, the commercial time is so valuable in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So it's not a normal game where they kind of have a little less to work with, so they kick it up to her during these other games. The Super Bowl, a lot of valuable commercial time, like I said, and just there's so many different angles they could look at and talk about. And I agree, if Kelce doesn't score, especially, I don't think she gets there. I think it's a good play on the Under.
Yeah, and those cutaways are quick. They're just just a little couple seconds here or there. So you would need a lot to get to that one. So, all right, those are your Super Bowl props of the day. Don't forget to tell us your best one down in the comment section. Let's do, you know what, Steve? I'll do my sneaky play of the day, and then we'll talk some NBA and NHL.
Sure.
It's one of the best golf tournaments of the year. It's the Waste Management Phoenix Open. It's a party. There's a prop out there. Will there be a hole-in-one? I'm saying no for a variety of reasons. First off, it's minus 105. That is absolutely insane on a price for there to be a hole-in-one. There's been 37 tournaments at this course. There's only been 16 holes-in-one. But here's the big thing, Steve. It's raining there. The course has been damp leading up to it, more damp than usual, and it's raining there today, and it's going to be raining there tomorrow when they tee off. So here's the thing. The ball doesn't roll, and you need the ball to roll for holes-in-one. Like, you don't just fly the ball right into the hole. Like, you land the ball, and it gets spin, and then it rolls into the hole. So let me pull up something here. This was last year, Ricky Fowler. This is a 216-yard par 3. All right, so Ricky Fowler does get a hole-in-one on this one. But watch how the ball lands. You'll see it land short, and then it rolls up into the hole. So land short, bounce, 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 roll. You're not getting that kind of bounce and roll on a wet course. That ball is you're going to get like one, maybe two little hops. So again, when we see the ball lands, bounce, roll, they're not getting that kind of roll. There's no way on this wet course. So that was a hole-in-one from last year. And then I will show you Sam Ryder getting a hole-in-one. Same thing here, Steve. Watch the spin that this ball has. Now, you can get spin on a ball in the rain, but not like this. Bounce, 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 spin off to the side in the hole. So in order to get a hole-in-one, you have to, like, you have to get a big bounce and then spin. When it's wet, the proximity to the hole to get a hole-in-one is much smaller. So I just don't think we're getting it. I read that there's been over 14,500 shots on the 16th hole, which is where the holes-in-one happened, and there's been 11. So the odds, so the odds are not in the favor. And then the other thing is, they do a cut on Friday. So you have 130 some odd golfers on Thursday and Friday, and then it cuts down to like 60 or 70 on the weekend. Well, it's wet on Thursday. It's going to be raining. So when you have the most golfers taking a shot of it, the weather's shitty. and it's not even
Hmm.
going to be get up to 60 degrees. It's going to be cold. It's going to be wet. So this is my sneaky play of the day at minus 105. I think the odds are just this should be minus 150, not minus 105, in my opinion. So
I was just gonna say it seems like great value at negative 105. It sounds like
that's crazy.
based on what you just laid out, I feel like it could be even closer to negative 200. Somewhere in the negative 150, negative 200 range, for what you just laid out, especially with the weather scenario as well.
It's all about the weather because they set up the hole on the 16th hole, like where the ball kind of funnels into it. So
Yeah.
they want to see it, but it just I just don't think it's going to happen with the wet weather. So that's my sneaky play of the day. The Waste Management Phoenix Open. There will not be a hole in one. So. All right, Steve, let's talk a little bit about some NBA and NHL props. Not a whole lot going on in NHL on Wednesday. There's only 3 games tonight. Be honest, I really don't. I have a couple plays that I like, but those are one of them is a client play that's up on WagerTalk.com. Is there anything in the NHL you liked tonight that you were going to go over?
Yeah, I was gonna just bring up I've been rinse and repeat on this guy, Seth Jones, for the Chicago Blackhawks under a half of a point. It's only negative 130. He's only recorded a point in 4 of his last 15 games. I know Minnesota isn't the
Nice.
best defensive matchup. They do allow, they do allow a good amount of goals, a good amount of shots on goals, but he hasn't recorded a point against them in the last 3 head-to-head games, and one of those came in December. So I'll just keep riding him, especially I was playing it even a little higher juiced. Anything under 150, negative 150, I was playing it at, but today we get negative 130 odds. So I think the Seth Jones to not score a point tonight against Minnesota is a great play.
All right. I
That's
was looking
actually
at.
I'm gonna use that as an official play as well. So I'm sharing that one. I'll use it as part of I'll lock in with my NBA pack regardless. So it's just a free play as well.
Okay. All right. Not a whole lot going on with shots on goal tonight. Not a lot of streaks. Only 3 for Jason Dickinson and Brock Faber. Maybe you could look at Brock Faber because they are playing the Blackhawks, who allow a ton of shots on goal. That might be worth a little bit of a look, but it's minus 150. Great matchup, but a little bit juicy. But really didn't have a whole lot in NHL for tonight. Let's talk a little bit of NBA. Was there a game that you were looking at?
Yeah, you were talking about rinse and repeat NBA props, and I'm going right back. We talked about this guy in the past, going right back to Jarrett Allen. This time, just I was going with his PRA before, but just tonight over 11 and a half rebounds. Now Mobley's back, which sets it up so that you'd think that Allen would get less rebounds. He hasn't. He's only hit it in 3 of his last 6. But this is the dream matchup right here, going up against the Wiz. It's a pace-up spot. They allow the most rebounds overall. He's also cleared this total in 6 of the last 8 head-to-head games against Daniel Gafford. Bagley's out. Gafford has been rumored in trade rumors, so there's a potential there where they could be really thin for bigs tonight. And he's already recorded 12 and 19 against the Wizards this season. So we go right back to it's a big total. 11 and a half is a ton of rebounds, but this Wiz team is the team you want to be taking the over rebound prop with opposing centers, especially.
They give up almost 50 rebounds a
Yeah,
game.
and he's just going to be planted in the paint, and
Grabbing
without
all
Bagley, and he's just
Yep.
abused he's just abused Gafford over the years, and they don't even have Bagley's now is out as well, so they're really thin for bigs tonight.
Well, who hasn't abused
Good
Gafford
point.
in the past? That's good. That's good. Any other games you like tonight?
Yeah, actually, my Celtics. I'm looking at Derek White tonight, and it's going to be his points plus assists at over 18 and a half. So Holiday's questionable tonight with an elbow injury. I think he probably plays, but regardless, even with Holiday in the lineup, we've seen White clear this total already once this season with 26 points plus assists. He's cleared it in 5 of his last 5 head-to-head games against the Hawks, 6 of his last 10 games overall, although he's fallen short in his last 2. But the Hawks, they play poor defense. Trae Young, poor defensive play as well. The only problem here is the blowout potential. That's the one thing that I worry about with this play is the Celtics are favored by 12 here. Capella's out, so not a lot of rim protection for the Hawks. I'm expecting the Celtics. The Hawks just gave up 149 to the Clippers in their last game, second highest amount of points allowed in the NBA
That's
this
amazing,
season.
man.
Yeah, to lose a game when you score 144, it's got to be pretty disheartening. Celtics coming off of a game where they scored 131 against the Grizzlies after they were embarrassed, losing to the Lakers without LeBron and AD. It's a pretty low number here for White, and if Holiday were to not play, then man, it'd be a great play. It's going to shoot up if Holiday doesn't go tonight.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Let's see. I was looking at the health or lack of for the Golden State Warriors here. Poor Klay Thompson. I was looking at him. I mean, this guy he's hurt. They got his total at 22 and a half points, rebounds, and assists, and you can see he's going under here. Philly, I mean, without Embiid, it's not a great matchup, but I mean, they sat him at crunch time, and Steve Curry just even came out and said it. It was just like it's hard for a Hall of Famer when you're dealing with injuries. He's just not the same player, and they keep hanging 22 and a half points, rebounds, and assists. I don't know, man. It just night in and night out, he just doesn't look right. So when I'm looking at his points, rebounds, and assists, what has he done in his last 30? So he's actually done pretty good, but Steve Kerr hinted at an injury. That's 3 in a row where he hasn't even sniffed his points, rebounds, and assists. So I wonder if he's not even close to 100%, and his minutes are coming down. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, well, another thing I would add to that is Kuminga has really just taken over as the second
Yeah,
scorer for the Warriors recently, and he does a lot of his work in the paint. Sixers without Embiid, they're
yeah,
short
that's
a
a
big
great
man
point.
tonight as well. So, and they've been vocal about him taking over the role of the secondary scorer on the team with obviously behind Steph Curry, and he's really been great recently, Kuminga. So I agree with you. I would look towards the under on Clay, over on Kuminga.
Yeah, you're right. Kuminga's been going over. Big boost, 30 and a half. I have not really paid attention to the not sure Philly's a great team and everything, but once I saw that Embiid was out with injury, I was like, yeah, you can write off Philly for the
Yeah,
championship hopes. So I find it hard to believe that Embiid's going to come back for a playoff run coming off this one. They said they're going to reevaluate in a month. That's not an injury you mess around with. So
it seems like that's just the story with them, though. They get out to these fast starts, and he just can't stay healthy throughout an entire season. There's always a point where he's missing time, and it's usually it just seems to usually be during crucial times as well. And they've been getting abused in the paint. So that yeah, this isn't a good spot for Clay. I don't think it's a great spot for Kuminga though.
I got to tell you, man, this is why I mean, I know it's frustrating as hell for fans. This is why I defend teams on load management. Like, I get it. They played Embiid as much as they possibly could. They probably overplayed him. And I know it was kind of a freak injury, but it happens to this guy every year. But I mean, it sounds silly, but what's the point of having Embiid if he's hurt every year going into the playoffs? There's no point to what? Put up a bunch of wins in the regular season? Like, who cares? I don't know. Like, if I'm Philly, all right, Joel, you're playing 40 regular season games. Let's sneak into the playoffs and let's have you 100% healthy. Like, I get it. Would you rather have the careers like these guys in the 80s that played 6 years because they're playing every single night and their knees and back are shredded by the time you're 30? Or would you rather have guys like LeBron playing great into the 40s? I would rather have guys playing guys playing into their late 30s and 40s. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about it. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean the load management is something that is obviously not fan friendly, and not something that as a bettor it's sometimes it can be sometimes you can take
It's
advantage of it as well though.
infuriating. No, but
Yeah,
mostly it's infuriating.
yeah, it is for the most part. But with a guy like Embiid, it just seems like they did run him into the ground. He was going off with all those different records, the 30 plus rebounds, 30 plus points, 10 rebounds a game for whatever the stretch was. I can't remember the exact number on it, but yeah,
Nice 70-point game against
yeah,
the Spurs, mind you.
and who's going to remember that? at the end of the season when they're hoisting the trophy. They're not. It's not. It's a shame though, because they are strong whenever he's in there, obviously, but he just can't make it through an entire season.
No, I agree. And listen, I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm just saying I get it. I 100% get it. And the teams that are using load management more than others are looking at Joel Embiid going, see,
Yeah,
see, that's why. So, all right, let's get to the Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame. It's Super Bowl week, so we're going to go over a couple of them. And the first one is an absolutely insane one, Steve, that we were looking up records. Like, what's a crazy one? This one is bonkers. Most points in a quarter. The Washington Redskins scored 35 points in one quarter. It was in the second quarter. This was the game that Doug Williams was the first African American quarterback to start there, and it was interesting. He got hurt in the first quarter, and then he comes back for the second quarter. They were down 10-0, and then by halftime they're up 35-10. Let's talk this one out. So the record is 35. How can you possibly get a team in the Super Bowl to score 36 points?
I don't think it's possible now based on teams that just play better defense. They're more disciplined in the running game. And another thing that's amazing about this one, the final score ends up being 42-10. And yeah, some of the statistics around it are just crazy. That they ran 19 plays in that quarter for 356 yards. Time of possession only 5 minutes and 54 seconds. And we were talking, really quick. We were talking before the show, and just at first I was like, it's amazing they did it with the time of possession being so low. But then, that's what it's going to take. It took a bunch of humongous plays, an 80-yarder, a couple of 50-yarders. There was a pick that they got where they landed right on the 8-yard line, set them up perfectly for a touchdown. I don't think this one's being broken. This is a first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion for the Unbreakable records.
Yeah, so we have the box score here. So you got a John Elway 56-yard pass, and then you get a field goal. So yeah, 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then 80-yard pass, a 27-yard pass, 58-yard run, 50-yard pass, 8-yard pass. So Doug Williams was 9 for 11 for 228 yards and 4 touchdowns. Timmy Smith, he ran the ball 5 times for 122 yards and 1 touchdown. That's pretty efficient. Like you mentioned, 356 yards and 35 points. Doug Williams was quoted, "We scored 35 points in 18 plays. That's execution at its very best." Yes, I would say that is about as efficient. And and execution was pretty good on that one. So, I mean, it just I don't see it. So you and I had trouble finding this one, but so we found the 1950 Los Angeles Rams, best offensive team in NFL history in terms of average points. So they scored 70 points. The next week, they had a 41-point quarter. That's the only quarter that I can find that is more than 35 points. So it was 1950. It's only happened one time, so you'd have to have it happen. You'd have to have something happen that's only happened one other time, and you'd have to have it in the one game in the Super Bowl. This one seems like kind of a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, especially when teams, aren't. We might not see either of these teams score 35 in the entire game. I wouldn't. I don't think that's happening, and I think that's a good chance that neither one does score 35, and to score it all in one quarter like that, I just don't see it with the team. Just the way the teams run the ball now, and the discipline on defense. Man, 30. That's like, and you said it has to be in the Super Bowl as well. I had trouble finding who the second place and third place teams were, but I almost don't think it matters at this point, just based on that's 5 touchdowns in a quarter. Wow.
Yeah. So congratulations. Most points in a Super Bowl quarter Redskins 35. You are in the Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame. I don't see this one being broken ever. So, all right, we have to do this one because you found this tweet and it is pretty amazing. So, go ahead and walk us. Just walk us through. Shout out to at NFL Badgers. Okay, but just I don't know. Walk us through this. Walk us through this tweet. This is pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, so this was from 2017. James White set or tied the following Super Bowl records: receptions 14, points scored 20, receiving yards by a running back 110, touchdown scored 3, and he also had recorded a 2-point conversion. He also scored a touchdown in overtime, which was the only one in Super Bowl history.
All right, so what we're going to do with this, we're going to try and pick the one that we think is the most unlikely to be broken and the one that's most likely to be broken. So, to me, I have a pretty clear-cut one that's not likely to be broken. Let's start with not likely to be broken. Which one do you think is most likely not to be broken?
I have one I have two clear-cut decisions here in my opinion. It's the point scored at
That was
20
mine too. That was
in my
mine too.
opinion. Because that's 3 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion as well. And like we mentioned, it took him overtime, scoring a touchdown in overtime to get that job done. Out of all these records, I think that, the other two, the 14 receptions, 110 receiving yards by a running back could both be broken. And I know we'll get to that in a minute, but I think the point scored at 20, that's asking an awful lot.
So, I mean, the points scored and the TDs scored kind of go hand in hand. I guess I actually think it would be more likely for a kicker to make 7 field goals than it would for one person to score 4 touchdowns. I mean, I guess you could have a blowout, but I don't think the Super Bowls are set up for blowouts this day and age. Like it just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like there's going to be an AFC team or an NFC team that's going to hang 50 some odd points on another team getting to the Super Bowl. So how do you have one guy score 4 touchdowns? But I could see 7 field goals.
I almost think it's more likely as well. I would agree with that. I think that, yeah, that would be a feat as well, obviously. But I think that to ask a guy to score 4 touchdowns in one game alone, it's a lot. And like we said, it took overtime, and it was the only time in Super Bowl history where there was the touchdown scored to get there.
Yeah. What was the other one that you were looking at for most unlikely?
Oh, I mean, I don't have another one. That's the most unlikely in my opinion. I was okay. Talking about for the most likely. I have a clear-cut decision on that one as well.
Ooh, okay. What's your most likely?
It's the receiving yards by a running back at 110.
Mine too.
I think that could get broken on Sunday potentially with McCaffrey. You know what I mean? I don't think it would happen. I mean, the Chiefs have a great pass defense, but I think that a running back could easily crack 110 in a Super Bowl. It's impressive receiving total for a running back, but I think that one could be broken.
I was surprised that was the record actually, because in my mind I'm going, God, that's one, like you have one huge 75-yard. A guy breaks it like a McCaffrey, he's going to fly over this if you got a close game. And if, especially if he's in like at the end of the first half or the end of the game on a, trying to, get a bunch of yards in the hurry up. I'm really surprised that that's the record. I know it's receiving yards by a running back, but just think of all the insane Hall of Fame caliber running backs. I would have thought there would have been a random 150-yard game in there. And I'm with you. There's I don't know, like potential it could be broken. I could absolutely see McCaffrey getting but if the game script goes and he breaks a couple long ones, absolutely he could get over this total. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, that's what we've seen. I mean, with a guy like McCaffrey, like you said, if he breaks a 60, 70-yarder, then 110 would be kind of short work at that point. I was surprised at first glance. I thought it said 110 was the record of all time in general at first glance, and I was like, what? I couldn't believe that for a second. But even at 110 for a running back, it seems really low to me as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think we're in lockstep. I mean, what a Super Bowl for James White. That's just wonder what he's doing these days. Watching that Super Bowl every day.
Yeah, enjoying the glory days.
Just sitting there in his like in his high school leather jacket watching.
Al
Oh man.
Bundy,
Yeah, right. Yes.
Polk
We,
High.
we, we could do that as a sports record Hall of Fame. You know, it's a down week when we're doing Al Bundy
Yeah.
sports record Hall of Fame. I love it. I love it. So, looking forward to this Super Bowl. I get a sneaking suspicion this is going to be an all-time Super Bowl. I think this is going to be a great game. I think there's going to be
I
a
agree.
lot. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it today. Don't forget to grab plays at WagerTalk.com. Steve's over at SportsMemo.com. We're going to be back tomorrow. Let's do team total Thursday tomorrow, Steve, for the
Sure.
Super Bowl. We'll do our favorite. Well, let's just do our one favorite. like,
Yeah.
kind of hard to pick two overs and two unders in that one. So we'll each pick our favorite team total tomorrow. We'll give out some more Super Bowl props. And then we'll get ready. But also, guys, don't forget, send in your video of your favorite Super Bowl prop. I'd love to hear from you guys. It'll be a lot of fun. Like I said, you need any help, just leave a comment or send me an email, bumperandsports@gmail.com. So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Good luck on your place. We'll see everyone tomorrow on the Road to Millions.
Good luck.